Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome. My name's Adam Natali. I'm the director of SVA Theater, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to opening night of After School Special 2016. This is our third year of the School of Visual Arts Alumni Film and Animation Festival, and it's our biggest year yet. We've expanded to 4 days. Last night we had the New York City premiere of Spring Break Zombie Massacre, which had a packed house, and the kids who star in it drove up in a bloody Jeep. You had to see it. We have pictures, but it was thrilling. But this here, that was a pre-festival screening. This tonight is our opening night, and I'm so excited to present SVA Premieres to you. This is the first time we're doing this in New York City. SVA Premieres, as some of you already know, was something that we did out in Los Angeles earlier this year. For the first time, the School of Visual Arts held an industry showcase for Hollywood luminaries and representatives from everyone from DreamWorks to Pixar to Fox and a whole other slew of studios. And we took 40 students, or 40, excuse me, recent graduates out to Los Angeles, and they had a great time over 2 days. We showed them a whole bunch of films, and we don't have 2 days worth of films here tonight. We just have, I think, about 10 or so, and the filmmakers and artists who made those films, which represent 9 different academic departments, both undergrad and graduate departments here at SVA, will be here tonight. They'll be here for a Q&A afterwards, so stick around for that. And also, for the first time, we're going to have a post-screening reception for everyone here. Come enjoy dessert and champagne out in the lobby afterwards to celebrate the first year of SVA premieres as part of After School Special. We're free-flowing. We know how to party here. A few other things. Again, if you didn't know that this was part of a larger festival, again, we have 4 days of screenings. Tomorrow, we're showing the Peanuts movie in 3D with folks that worked on animation at Blue Sky Studios. We have the 25th anniversary of Beauty and the Beast on Sunday with one of the animators of that. We have Deadpool tomorrow night with the VFX artists. We have 2 documentaries live from New York, as well as another one called Trans Fatty Lives, both of which were featured at Tribeca Film Festival. And many of the people will be here. We have over 50 alumni represented in the festival, and many of them, thank you guys. Some of you are here in the audience, so I just want to give them all a round of applause. If you were in the lobby, you noticed we had music videos rolling. Those are by alumni. We had 2 virtual reality experiences, which will be happening afterwards as well, and you can check those out if you didn't make it on through the wait list earlier. So those are by alumni as well. So I think that that's all I really have to say, but I'm so excited to have you all here. I'll be back after the screening to introduce the filmmakers who are here tonight, and I just want you to sit back, relax, turn off your cell phones, please. Yeah, you know, quick picture of the screen, I get it, but beyond that, don't annoy your neighbors. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you after. Enjoy SVA premieres. I just wanted to say, you know, this shows a real variety of the work coming out of the School of Visual Arts. Everyone represented here tonight graduated in either 2015 or 2016, so you've seen experimental work, commercial work, narrative, documentary, music videos, visual effects, and animation as well. One of the other screenings as part of the festival that I didn't mention, tomorrow night there'll be a midnight screening with Titmouse Animation with both the founder and some of the artists from Titmouse. And if you don't know the name, you certainly know the work, from everything from the Venture Brothers to Metalocalypse and to a wide variety of films as well. Basically, a lot of the shows you see on Adult Swim at night, that's Titmouse Animation. And so they'll be here tomorrow night at midnight for a special screening. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to make mention of is that some of the films you saw tonight were nominated for Student Academy Awards, both Confessions of a Breastimator and The Moon is Essentially Gray. Moon is Essentially Gray is a finalist for a Student Academy Award, which will be given out on September 22nd, so we'll find out then. But I want to introduce our moderator for this evening, Ken Varvel. Ken is over here, and he is a current SVA student, and he is the vice president of the Visual Arts Student Association. So, Ken, why don't you take a seat on the far end? And then I want to bring up the alums who had films represented tonight. So if you want to come up this way, if you have to make your way over, we have start the chain. Let's see, where are they? Yeah, you can go to, if you have to go down and around, that's totally fine. So we have Jisoo Kim. She graduated from the MFA Computer Art Department. She was Confessions of a Breastimator. Poon, maybe we'll wait till they all get up here. So here's one. Poon Wachara Ampaiwan. So Poon, right this way. He directed The Creek of Mine, which was the documentary set in West Virginia. That was an excerpt from the documentary. The longer film, which I believe is finished, he'll talk about more. So you just want to follow around that way. Hannah Roman, who graduated from MFA Computer Art Department. She did The Moon is Essentially Gray. Jisoo Kim, MFA Computer Art, Confessions of a Breastimator. Julian Desroches, the BFA Computer Art, Computer Animation, and Visual Effects. He did Time Warped. Who we got here? Sam Lee, who now works for the school but graduated from BFA Animation. She did Peace of Mind. Like Max, or Max Coulson also graduated from BFA Animation. He did Puccini. Forrest Grant Davis, who graduated from the MFA Photography, Video, and Related Media Department. He did Panopticon. We got George Vatistas from MPS Directing. He did The Hobbyist. Keyshawn Savjani, Rubaru, the last film you saw, graduated from the BFA Film Department. And Jae Yun Suk, who graduated from MFA, it's all these different letters here. I know it's fashion photography, it's the graduate fashion photography program. The one film we do not have represented, so I guess we're gonna have an empty chair, is Unmasked, which was the first film by Christina Farage and Alice Gavish from BFA Computer Art, Computer Animation, and Visual Effects Department. They could not be here for extenuating circumstances, and it looks like Zach Crowell is not here as well. He did Effort Matrix. He graduated from BFA Photography and Video, and he also works for the school now as well. So I'll let you guys take it away. So there you go, Ken.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our alumni. It's great to have you guys here. I'm really excited to have a little discussion with you guys. I watched your films earlier this week, and they are all beautiful and amazing, and it's really intimidating to see all of your work and know that I have to do that next year on some level. So yeah, I just wanted to start out. I wanted to ask you guys, and you guys can just go down the line. If any of you feel you have something you want to jump in, you're more than welcome to. Just let the person who's speaking finish their thought. But I just wanted to ask you guys on a really basic level, what drew you to your major, to your department? What about your major excited you and got you doing what you did? Don't all speak at once. It's all good. Yeah, we can start down here.
Okay. So I have a background in photography, and I love photographing real people. So so I looked into the documentary film program here at SVA, and this is the only school I applied to. I visited the school and
Pick the best one first, right?
yeah, and I was hoping that it would help me with storytelling.
Cool.
Okay. My background was in film studies and English and studio art, and then I ended up coming here for computer art to focus in animation. And I had never, ever considered animation until the December before I came here. And it was just a decision that I made one night very quickly and got my applications in, and now I'm here and gone and here again. Yes, it was a little unexpected, but it was a good choice.
So I finished my undergraduate studies here in SVA as a traditional animation major, and after that I started working in an advertising company which was in my film, the one that made boobs commercial. And I realized how much I want to be involved in animation, but like hands-on, not as someone who just directs or just do the design stuff. I want to be hands-on animator, so I decided to come back here because I had some friends and instructors who said very good things about this department.
I want, at a young age, like I knew I wanted to enter the visual effects industry. So I was inspired by Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. So once I found out there were like schools for visual effects, school visual arts, I live in Long Island. So it was a no-brainer to come here. And yeah, that's how I ended up here.
So my mom was a science teacher and my dad is an artist, and animation has always been a really big part of my life. It's kind of the marriage of both, persistence of vision, everything. So I kind of fell into it by accident. My first college, I went to school for illustration, and then I was going to be a science teacher, and now I'm here, perfect and harmonious.
I'm just like really messed up in the head, and like, as you can tell from Puccini, and I just like making people laugh and telling stories. And when I found out about this school, I was like, sweet, I don't have to move to California. And I was like, sign me up, and that's it.
For undergrad, I pretty much focused on directing and editing and worked in that for a couple years and was pretty much over it and wanted to get away from it, and came back here to get my master's in more of a photo-based program. And after a year of that, just fell right back into narrative stuff. And here we are.
I've always loved film. Ever since growing up, ever since I can remember, that's all I've done is sat in front of that screen and just meant, it's like a dream come true just being up here and speaking to everyone. So dealing with actors, putting your project on the big screen, that's what it's all about. Ever since I can remember, I loved film. It's not always what I've done. I actually started off doing economics, and then what do you know, crisis hits. So a lot of the films had that message today about follow your dreams, follow your passion, and just don't let anybody take that from you. Because one day you can stand on your both feet, and they can never take that from you. So.
So with me, I kind of grew up in the Indian film business. I used to be an actor, so I started acting when I was 7, and I was acting all the way till I got to college. So film was something that was kind of meant to be. And when it was time to come to college, I was like, I'm gonna go study film. So that's why I chose. I think New York's a cool city, and SVA is a pretty cool school. So yeah, that's why.
I graduated BFA final photography undergraduate, and I moved to master program MPS fashion photography. Before SVA, I haven't thought about I'm gonna be a photographer and artist. So SVA is really life changing for me. Yeah. Great.
Thank you. Thank you. Cool. All right. Well, thank you for coming to our thing, and there's going to be dessert afterward. No, I'm sorry. I have more questions, I swear. So I just want to ask you, as a current student, I've learned so much in the last year that I've been here, and I wanted to ask you, how did SVA specifically, and working on your films here, prepare you for the world after SVA? I know you're all still relatively fresh, getting out there, but how did we help you prepare here?
I think that going back to school was a great choice for me because I got to meet, classmates and professional teachers. So I learned a lot from my peers, and so after school, I have people that I can rely on, my friends, colleagues. So
It just reminds me, like, you know, my first day of class last year, I had 2 different professors pull me aside, or not pull me aside, but say to the class, like, look to your left, look to your right. These are the people that you're going to be working with for the rest of your life. And I'm noticing it now, still being in school. Like, I know the people that I can rely on. Is that something that you definitely feel you got from the school?
yes, yeah.
I think that I learned more in 2 years here than the 20. Can I do math? 24, 25 years before coming here. Really, I learned more here in a year or two than I even thought was imaginable. And the biggest thing that I learned is like learning how to learn and learning how to figure it out. And everyone here is doing the same thing. Everyone's very industrious and hardworking, and that stays with you. And the community and the alumni network, they're all people like that. So it's true. You will be working with them for the rest of your life. It's a great network.
I don't know which one.
Please share the mics, people, please.
So I think I really agree with what you guys said, because it's really true. Getting work after graduation is just, it's been mostly word of mouth for me. So the acquaintances and friends that you met in the school is, they're gonna help you out, and then when you're in a better situation, you'll learn to help them out, and it's just good for everybody. And that's been the case with me. So yeah, it's been good.
I guess deadlines. The school definitely helped me with deadlines. So, and I guess industry professionals, working with industry professionals, really helped me. Without that, like, I wouldn't know where I'd be. So, yeah.
I think the number one thing, besides what everyone's been saying so far, that I learned while I was here was to take every aspect of your life into what you do, no matter what it is, because all of our majors can be connected in some way. Even though I'm animation, film, photography, whatever it is, like, it's all connected, and you can always learn from something that you don't think is related to what you do. Yeah, and kind of just incorporating everything in your life to anything happening in it, I guess. It's all connected.
Yeah, it totally is. Like a spider web. Yeah, I don't know. Just like a lot about the industry and how it works, how to animate, I guess. Yeah. And a lot about like personal relationships, like of like how to interact just with people in general, because like a lot of times like you come into these schools, like especially like artists, like we're very secluded, and it's like I've never talked to anyone before in my life before coming here, like hi, and so yeah, you learn like life experiences, so it's good. It's good.
I think the biggest thing for me coming back was working with Charles Traub and his whole theory of like just constantly be making work and putting it out there, whether it's shit or not, and just having that hustle, whether here or outside of here. That was pretty much the biggest thing, and just talking to people about your work and basically being passionate about it.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. It's a lot about just chasing a dream, following it through, and SVA changes everything. You know, it's not a school that really, I shouldn't be saying this, but really it doesn't go 100% by the book, you know. So, but that's a good thing, of course, because Bob Giraldi, Sharon Graytech, I could just say everybody on the MPS directing floor, they're great. They change your life. Anybody's here, I love you all. And you know, I really recommend it because it really flipped my life around, and just like everybody else here. So go for it.
I think with me it was competition. Like once you're in the film program, you look at other people's work, and you're like, damn, that film's better than what I did. Or damn, that guy's a much better writer. So I couldn't have made my film if the people I was in class with didn't make good films. So that was one thing that I learned the most, and obviously the work ethic as well. I had some people in my class that were like monsters. Like there's a guy I know, he's sitting right in the back. He made 3 thesis films. Like that's unheard of. Like nobody does that, but you know, it inspires you, and that's what it did to me. So yeah, I'm grateful for that.
During SVA, I learned a lot from my classmates, my instructors, that after graduate, I sometimes miss that passionate vibe that SVA gave. And someone said that deadline, I think during those time at SVA, there was the most working time I've ever, and all the people I've met. Yes, that was a great experience.
Thank you guys for sharing that. That's an inspiration to me in the next couple of years. I'm really excited. I'm going to ask one more question, and then I think we're going to open it up to the audience. Just to, if you guys have any questions or are thinking of anything, you know, think about them now, and you can come up to the mics on both sides after this and ask your questions of the group. So I watched all your films earlier this week, and the one thing that stood out to me is they all seem very personal. There seems to be something very personal about all of them. They all seem to come from some sort of personal experience or yourself. I can see you in them. Would you guys mind sharing maybe some of your inspirations behind your films and where the ideas for your stories or films came from? We don't have to go in order. Just so you know, if any of you really want to speak up, you're welcome to go first.
Like I said before, I love to meet people, learn about their cultures. So cultures, you know, inspired me. I love to learn, and shooting documentaries is kind of like peeling like onions. You know, you're trying to, you know, dig deeper, peel, you know. So and the more I spend time with my characters, the more I learn, the more reveal I get. So
Just want to say too, like I'm in the film department, and I tend to focus on like narrative storylines, and I see a couple of like experimental things, but I don't see any documentaries. I know that that's like a whole different department, but it's really great to be reminded that those come out of our school, and I thought it was a really beautiful piece that you did.
Thank you. Yeah, and basically I pick up a camera just to learn about. It's like an excuse for me to learn about people. So.
So my film, I feel like the meaning of it changes so much for me. Like I was thinking one thing when I came up with the idea, and I was very interested in codependency and power and self-love and joy and freedom, and I had this idea for the character that was just really inspiring to me, that was just like this little industrious little spark of a person, and that like got me going for a while. I was really into the character, and then now I'm watching it and it feels like a very different film to me, and it's all about loneliness, and it changes a lot. So it's not about one thing. I can't really pin it down, but yeah.
So I think when you're creating art, because it's so it could be so subjective and abstract. What's most important is to find something that you feel strong about, and then if you're sincere about it, other people will feel it too. So I like animation, and then I like boobs. So how do I put these two together? So I've been trying different stories, and none of them were like not really working. I tried to do something smart, and it's not funny. And then And then my instructor, this was a week before the mid-year presentation, so don't do this when you're doing yours. She's like, listen, you need to change your story so that it speaks from your heart. I'm like, okay. So I sat down. I'm like, I like boobs, but I'm angry. So I thought of what got me feeling strong, and it's the experience I had at my workplace. I was working very late. You know, there were stupid people everywhere. But when I worked on that boob project, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So this experience, that story from the film is true story. They really said, okay, make it this, make it bigger. It was very, very glorious.
Okay. I really like time travel. Some of my favorite films are about time travel, like Back to the Future, Interstellar. Yeah. So I wanted to base my thesis around time travel, and I wanted a thesis that like showcased different way types of compositing. So like CG compositing, screen replacement, and simulations. So I tried coming up with a story that showcased all of that. And in the beginning, I didn't really like think of the limitations of what I know and what I don't know. And then after that, I said, okay, can I do this? Can I not do this? And that's how it came to be. So, yeah.
So for my thesis film, I made my obligatory "Where do I fit in?" Story with the most obvious character, a puzzle piece head. But I basically like wanted to kind of for my last year wear my heart on my sleeve. Like this is how I feel, and I'm sure a lot of you feel it too. And I think a lot about what the entertainment industry means to me is besides the whole storytelling and artistry and like all of that is just like reaching out to someone with your heart and saying like, here, this is me, you know, this is you too. So that was my inspiration, as corny as it sounds.
I was not molested by a spider, so you can all calm down. I guess I just have like a fascination with like fear and like what scares us. The spider can pretty much be like anything you're afraid of. So like audience interpretation, like, you know, obviously this character was afraid of spiders. But you know, if you're afraid of like anything, and I just feel like it can be, it's like what the audience makes it pretty much. But yeah, I was just like, I'm not scared of spiders. I really like them, and I like dogs, and I was like, I'm gonna make this. And I don't know.
I started working on this film while I was actually working on my thesis film. For my thesis film I made a feature, and I was like 6-7 months into post on it, and I was just over it and didn't want to do anything on it anymore. And this was like kind of an escape back to like how I got into filmmaking and just like limiting ourselves and going out with like 2 of my best friends and just shooting on 800 feet of stock in the woods and kind of making something that we were more passionate about, to come back with kind of like a fresh head and fresh perspective on finishing my thesis. So.
Oh, The Hobbyist, it was an adapted short. It's a written short from 1961, American writer called Frederick Brown. So I had to go through the whole copyright process, which was a lesson of its own. But once again, it goes straight to the core of the story. I believe it doesn't matter for me for what reason you can touch the story can touch you and you want to say, but once that story touches you, you have to find a way, whether it's visually narrative, whether it's just colors or lights, doesn't really matter, just sound. So you have to find a way to depict that story and let the whole world see it for how you see it.
So I like Bollywood. I grew up in the business, and so I wanted to make something that was about Indian cinema, because a lot of people have this wrong perception of Indian cinema. They think it's all song and dance, which 90% of it actually is. So you're not entirely wrong. But there's a lot of cool, interesting films, and there's a lot of cool Indian directors that you can go watch. So when it came to my thesis film, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go back home, and I'm gonna make a film about something that I know very well. So that's why I made the film. So go watch Indian cinema, guys.
My film has two different happenings, but playing same time. So I wanted to speak. There's a conversation and connection between two scenes through gestures and colors. Because I believe we are all connected, and our lives influence each other. So that was my theme, and I inspire from my personal experiences and careful observation from every day. Can be anything like strangers gestures, my friends' emotion, and yeah.
Thank you guys. That's inspiring because it's a little bit of everything, and it inspires me because I know that I can look at anything now and turn it into an amazing film. Can't wait. Did anybody have any questions? If you'd like to, there's a mic right here if you'd like to come up to it. So just in case anybody couldn't hear that, what do you do when you're in a creative rut, and how do you kind of move past that and shake it off?
I watch movies. That's what I do. Like,
I wanted to make another movie tonight. I was like, I need to make another movie.
yeah, I watch movies. That's what I do. Because if I'm confused, I need ideas. Like, go on Netflix and watch a movie.
Yeah, movies, short films on YouTube, Vimeo. I use that for inspiration.
Write about it and leave the city. There's a whole other place outside of New York, and it's awesome. And I think a lot of times people forget that, and sometimes it's nice just to leave this place and clear your head.
Just write a lot, create. One thing that helped me, because I came from overseas doing this, one thing that helped me is you just got to find a spot and stick to that. You know, it could be anything. It could be a childhood memory. It could be a really bad memory, a really good memory. But one thing that a lot of creators, I think, forget, especially myself, is you got to do a lot of soul searching. You got to find out who you are, where you come from. I think we said that a couple of times. A couple of movies hinted that also. So you really got to find out where you're coming from. Because if you don't know where you're coming from, you're not going to know what you're going to want to say. Besides, even make a movie. That's what I believe. So.
I play video games. I shoot digital people that I do not know. I just have to kind of like get it out and become that like primal rage monster. And like, but it helps me clear my head. It gets all the like bad emotions out. It's a very good vent, that it's also self-indulgent.
I think it's good too. I had this a lot in the lab during thesis, but when I would be like really banging my head against a wall, it's really great to help another person or just involve yourself with their creative process, because it keeps you engaged and it keeps your mind going in that way, but it gives you a break for a minute, which sometimes you just need to get away from it a little bit.
Let's take a step
Yeah,
back.
but not turn off entirely. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, guys. We have a question over here. Oh, there's a mic coming to you right now.
Thank you. The documentary, My Creek, did I get the name right? My Creek?
The Creek of Mine. The Creek of Mine.
Creek of Mine. Where did you find Vivian, and how was it getting her to go along with doing this?
Well, I was sent to Buffalo Creek, West Virginia, a couple of years ago to do a photo story about a flood. and then I fell in love with West Virginia and the town. So for my thesis, I revisited, and then I happened to bump into Vivian. So what got my attention from her was that she told me that she volunteered as she does hair for the dead. And I knew right away that, you know, what kind of person she is. So I asked her, if I could film her, and she said yes. So yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
And I think we have time for one more question. I have a question over here.
Really question statement of Jisoo, pronouncing that name right?
Oh yeah, it's Jisoo.
That's the funniest film I've seen in a long time.
Thank you.
Not only was it funny, but you addressed an important issue about body image too.
For those who didn't hear, he said it's the funniest film he's seen, and she also addressed a really important issue, which is body image.
Can I just add something?
Yeah.
to it? So I think people are now too afraid of saying what they like, because you can just go up to someone and say, "Hey, you have beautiful eyes," and you're like, "Oh, thank you, I do." But if you like big boobs, and you go up to someone and say, "Hey, I like your boobs. You have beautiful boobs," and they're like, "What?" So I think all body parts are equally beautiful, and you to be not ashamed of them, you can't be afraid to say, "Hey, I like it. So I like big boobs."
All right, and we're going to take one more question over here.
Hey guys, those were all fantastic, by the way, and I did crack up a lot at the boobs one. So I started school here 2 weeks ago. It's been really good. But what's been on my mind? Oh, thank you. I'm in animation, so kudos. Have you guys ever run into like ego, whether if it's with yourself or other people, and have you like dealt with that? Because I've seen that a lot.
Who's dealt with ego? Come on, guys. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, occasionally, like, there's, like, one or two that are really, like, think they're great. And sometimes they are, which is, good, good for them. But, to deal with it, just keep doing your thing. Don't worry about them. Worry about yourself. It doesn't matter because they're not you. That sounds corny. I'm sorry. But, yeah, just and like treat everyone like with respect. Don't be like, oh, like I'm so much better than you or whatever. Like, why are you even here? Because you're eventually going to be working with most of these people, and the ones that are kind and respectful, they're going to be the ones that get jobs and flourish. While like the ones with the big ego, no matter how talented they are, no one's going to want to work with them. So,
And just to add on to that, even if they are good, ignore the ego part. You can always learn from anyone, no matter what they're like art-wise.
All right, thank you guys.
I just want to ask one more thing. Anyone, you guys are recent grads. Anyone score any really cool jobs or working on a really cool film right now?
I just started at Blue Sky Studios in Connecticut, and we're working on Ferdinand, which is exciting. Yeah.
Any other new films coming up? Anyone working on anything?
I got hired to write a feature-length film, so that's what I'm doing. So it's a commercial Bollywood feature-length film, so that's going to be interesting.
Anyone else? Keeping it under wraps. Well, thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Ken. Great job. Thank you to everyone. Thank you guys so much. Join us in the lobby and join us the rest of the weekend for all the screenings. Have a good evening.